Welcome all to the Podwans Podcast. I am your host, Lucas, and obviously my co-host is not sure. He had planned to go see Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Yep.
So in is my good friend Hereth Productions, and they fly now. How's it going?
Yeah. It's going good. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing good. This is your first appearance on the pod, so welcome. Thank you for coming on and being my co-host for tonight.
It's no problem.
Harris, let's do a little introduction. What got you into Star Wars?
Oh, this is an easy one. So, what got me into Star Wars is just like anyone who got into Star Wars is their parents. So, my father, at the age of 5, popped in the old like Star Wars DVDs and got me hooked on them. Showed me the entire saga 1 through 6 at the time because obviously the sequels haven't come out because obviously I'm not that young. Come on. So
Mm-hmm.
he showed me 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and I kind of became a fan then fell out around when I was in my young teens, and then when Force Awakens came out, it reactivated the fandom with me, and I came back to Star Wars, and I've been a fan since.
Nice, 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 nice. But guys, we're gonna get into it. So we're gonna be talking about the two episodes, Trespass and Hidden Enemy. Yes, they're not an arc; they are two separate episodes. But we're kind of getting into the point where arcs are happening more often, and there's not a lot of individual episodes. So we're gonna take a little bit more time, and we're gonna have a whole bunch of stuff at the end. Talked about Star Wars news, obviously Book of Boba. So stick around for that. But we are gonna get into episode 15 of season 1, Trespass. Hareth, before we the nitty gritty of it,
Okay.
what were your thoughts when you first saw this episode? What were your thoughts really?
Again, I thought it was a pretty okay Clone Wars episode. I thought it was middle of the pack for the season. I thought it was a very interesting plot with the snow mechanics and everything with that. But for the overall, it was eh.
Yeah.
It was just an Clone Wars episode. Like the next episode, I thought was really good for season 1, but this one was kind of eh.
Yeah, I feel you. So Char is unfortunately not here to do the voice-over like he did last week.
Sorry, I'm not talented like Char.
No, but neither am I, so don't worry about it. So basically what it reads, Republic outpost overrun. The Jedi have lost all contact with the clone security force stationed on the bleak, snow-covered planet of Orta Plutonia. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, accompanied by dignitaries from the nearby moon of Pantora, are sent to investigate the disappearance of the clone troopers in the desolate and forbidding landscape. Basically, this is Hoth in the prequel era.
Right.
Basically.
Basically.
So right off the bat, Anakin and Obi-Wan show up, and they're in this is basically Empire Strikes Back, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, beginning, hoods in a cold environment. By the way, those outfits are drippy. I like
Drippy.
Those are drippy. Those are really nice.
The goggles and everything.
Well, I mean, I'm more or less talking like the coat and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I like. That was the first thing I noticed. I was like, yep. If somebody had an Etsy shop and we're selling those, I'd buy one. Hands down.
Sure.
Got to be really warm. So we see LAAT gunships fly down close to the base, and Obi-Wan and Anakin and Rex all come out, which Rex and the clones are wearing snowtrooper uniforms, which is pretty awesome.
It's pretty rad.
It's basically this whole episode's basically a callback to Empire. Basically.
Dave Filoni's like, look, you guys remember the original trilogy? It happened.
Oh yeah, it's happened. So then they come down and they meet Senator Roy Chuchi and Chairman Cho. And let me tell you, Chairman Cho is the worst person in the entire arc. He's the worst villain. Like he's not even a good representative or a chairman of a planet. He's just the worst. Just the absolute worst. Thinks he's got a big dick, everybody, when he walks around.
Big
I'm
dick,
the
everybody.
I am the representative. I am the chairman of Pantora. Like, bro, don't you have a king? Isn't he like the more like superior guy?
Superior.
Like I'm just like he just puts off like terrible vibes.
He's
Just
like,
awful
oh.
vibes.
He's like, I'm a mustache twirler, you see?
Yeah,
I don't like this
basically
name.
like oh yeah,
He's like, I'm Grievous, but worse. And I don't have lightsaber.
Basically. So the Jedi basically the Anakin and Obi-Wan show up and they are like basically they're telling Chairman Cho and Senator Chuchi to stay behind because like this is like a Republic matter, and
Right.
Cho right off the bat goes, I could go wherever I like. Pantora is this is Pantora territory. And I'm like, dude, get off your high horse. Just stop. Just
Get off your high horse.
And like Obi-Wan, and I feel like Obi-Wan just gives off the vibes like, God, I hate this guy. I hate this guy.
I love how his name is Senator Chuchi. Like,
yeah, so Senator Chuchi and like Chairman Cho. It's like, come on, can we get a little bit better Star Wars names? You know what I mean?
Little racist there, but
yeah, little
racist,
little bit. But they so then we see that obviously Pantora, it's within the boundaries, blah blah blah. So technically the Jedi answer to Chairman Cho, not Chairman Cho, but Chuchi, the senator. But Obi-Wan's basically like, well, Chairman Chuchi, that decide what was gonna happen.
Right.
And obviously Chuchi's more or less just like gotta like let the chairman do what he wants, I guess, at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you kind of start to see the beginning of like Senator Chuchi being like, I don't know about this guy. Don't know about him at all. Like he's kind of batshit crazy. So Anakin, Obi-Wan and Rex check out the base with other clone troopers, and they find that the security force is all dead.
Right.
And they plug into the consoles. Oh, but the consoles are untouched. So they basically were like, it couldn't have been the Separatists, because if it were, they would have been they would have taken all the info that we have. Well, come to find out, they had been doing reconnaissance on a Separatist base in the on the same planet. On the planet.
What are the odds?
Yeah, what are the odds? So then they end up going to the Separatist base. They find a hollow replay. And let me just tell you, there is in the old Clone Wars, there's a species Jedi of this kind of alien. And let me tell you, I think that was the inspiration of using these aliens for this episode.
Right.
But yeah, I like honestly, I think what I put down was like, these warriors are badass. Like straight up. Like they were able to granted, they are droids, but like it's like they're, I don't know. It's interesting, I should say. But so obviously when Senator Chuchi says so then we get back to the Republic base, and Chuchi basically says there's no way this could have been the Separatists. Because it's like they would have, there's no evidence consistent to that theory. And Senator Cho was like adamant that it was them. Just adamant to the point. Like, dude, like there's no evidence So why you fishing for some? Doesn't make any sense. So then Anakin and Obi-Wan follow the clues to the nearby canyon, where they see light reflections, which basically is like, hey, there's something. Let's follow that.
What light reflections? Who
Oh
would
man.
have
Oh man, that's a new invention. So
thought?
they follow it and they find the sentient inhabitants called the Talls.
Right.
Um, the good thing about this, so Anakin and Obi-Wan show up, and Anakin's like, "Are you gonna be able to talk to them?" And Obi-Wan, I think Obi-Wan says something about Qui-Gon again, which in the old Clone Wars, in the Tartakovsky, when Anakin does the whole trial thing,
Yeah.
he says something about being Qui-Gon Jinn's Padawan is very useful or something. So they try to communicate with each other, and Anakin ends up drawing on a tablet, like hand in hand, like peace, and they get through to the Talls. But when they leave, one of them just picks up Obi-Wan and starts hugging him. And I'm like, Obi-Wan's got a vibe. He's
Obi-Wan
just
does
got a
have a
vibe.
vibe.
Like everybody just loves to hug Obi-Wan. So then Anakin and Obi-Wan go back to the Republic base and tell the Pantorans that they've arranged a meeting with them in the Talls.
Right.
And like again, Chairman Chow, douche, is like, they're no more than savages. They couldn't have been here before. And Obi-Wan's like, well, to the contrary, it seems like they've been here for a very, very long time. And it's like, Cho just won't have any of it.
Right.
And like, I don't know about you, but it was like the most infuriating thing. I was like, dude, you're gonna second guess the Jedi? Really? Like, come on. So then basically they go to the meeting. Uh Politely ask that the Republic leave. The
You sound
chairman,
like a separatist or something.
yeah, basically. And then Chairman Chow refuses and tells C-3PO, who, by the way, could have been very useful in the beginning part of this episode, trying to figure out what kind of species these are.
Yeah.
Ends up translating every single word and provokes war.
Nice.
So that's great.
As Scripture does.
Great start. Great start, guys. And I just, again, if I had to pick a dummy of the episode, definitely Chairman Cho. Takes the cake. Takes the freaking cake.
Does he eat it too, or does he just take the cake?
He just takes the cake, and he's just that guy that everybody hates. You know, like we all know that one person that thinks their shit don't stink, and it definitely does. It definitely does. So after he declares war, he like starts ordering out around the clones, and I'm like, wait, hold on. You're not a general. Like, you're chairman of a planet that might have sovereign, like, diplomatic reasons for that, but like, you're not a general. You're not you're not part of the Grand Army of the Republic. Like, what gives you the say? Like, Anakin and Obi-Wan are the only people, and like Anakin's like, okay, whatever, you guys, you can take them, but don't provoke them. And what does Cho do? They basically take off. And they come out and they're on the speeder bikes, which, by the way, those speeder bikes, cool as hell.
Oh yeah.
Like the ones that have like the inside. I'm like, where were those at in the original trilogy? Like those would have been so helpful to the Rebel Alliance on Hoth.
So helpful. It would have done wonders because they could have had a ground force and a flying force.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, um, Chairman Cho, uh, and the clones are ambushed.
Okay.
And let me just tell you, another thing: the lion-looking things, cool as hell. And that's why I think the Talls won this, because they obviously, and this proves the point of Obi-Wan. It's like they've been here a lot longer. They know the land, they know everything about the planet, and they know how to survive. So it's like when Chairman Cho's like, "Oh, there's no way that they're like," says who? Like, what are you talking about, my guy? Like, it's you clearly see it. And let me tell you, I I don't like a lot of deaths in this show. But this death was very satisfying death
You're
for
just
me.
like, oh, thank God it's over.
I'm just like, finally this douchebag gets what he deserves. And he dies, and but Rex tries to save him, brings him back. Chuchi, while they're being attacked on the speeders, the Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Senator Chuchi are talking on the gunship. And Anakin and Obi-Wan are like, okay, there's got to be a solution where you can override him. There's got to be. And she's like, the Speaker of the Assembly. He's got command over the over everything else. And then you see another hollow, and it's like the Speaker being like, yeah, this guy's the worst.
Yeah, it kind of
You
sucks.
can you can do whatever you want, basically.
It-
And I'm just like, when they show up, and Chairman Chow was like, kill these savages. I'm like, dude, haven't you figured it out that you're the worst and nobody's gonna listen to you?
Have you figured out that you're literally going to jail right now?
Yeah, you are literally going to jail right now. But we don't get the satisfaction of putting him in handcuffs because he dies.
Damn.
So they go to the assembly with the new with Senator Chuchi and the tall uh Tall's leader, and Chuchi gives this lie and basically says we will leave in peace and hopefully we can live together. Um and that's what happened. And I think the coolest part about it is when she throws down the spears. Well, he throws down one and she throws down the other, and then they shake hands. I think, isn't that how it ends?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And then Obi-Wan says, requests that they maintain peace. She should if they plan on maintaining peace, she should be the one that makes it last.
Right.
Which is very, 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 very good in that respect.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the
overall,
good philosophy for a kids show and overall.
yeah, being able to agree to disagree and find common ground and be able to make light of our differences,
Right.
basically. But yeah, this was a fun little episode. I mean, we can do the grading now. So obviously, if everybody that's watched this and has been with us week to week, our rankings are Padawan, Jedi Knight, Padawan, no, Youngling, Padawan, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, Grandmaster. So Hereth, you being the guest, what would be your ranking of this episode?
I'd give it a good Padawan.
Yeah, why? Just
Because
because
it's just it's eh. It's like, yeah, it has the cool Emperor Strikes Back callback, but it's the rest of the episode is just the plot is super thin. There's not much going on.
yep.
It's just eh. It's
Yeah,
there's
it
not
is.
much to it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I'm kind of with you. I gave it a Padawan as well. I mean, it's good symbolism. But this is what you would call a filler episode, like a true filler episode. but I don't really like using filler as a montage thing, like
Yeah,
as a thing to really hammer home, because it does add to character development.
it does.
We see Senator Chuchi later in the series. Um, we don't see the Talls, but we also see Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship again, like growing.
Right.
So I mean, it's a good episode. It's worth showing that episode.
Agreed.
Now this one, the next one, we will be talking about is season 1, episode 16. Which, by the way, Hidden Enemy, if you're watching chronologically, is in the beginning. It's like the third episode or second episode.
Second episode
Okay,
'cause
so it goes
it's
cat and mouse,
Hidden
cat and
Enemy,
mouse, Hidden Enemy,
Clone
Clone
Wars
Wars movie.
movie.
Yeah.
I should
So
know. Wait, I think it's Domino Squad. No, wait, I got flipped up. It's Cat and Mouse, Hidden Enemy, Clone Wars movie, Domino Squad.
Domino Squad.
It's
Yep.
the four you start
And
with.
then the Clone Cadet. No, then it's the Rishi Outpost.
Yes, and then
then
the Invasion of Kamino.
the Camino Invasion. Camino. Yeah, but obviously we're watching it in release order
Right.
because that's just how we do it.
Yeah, even though chronological order is like 100 times better.
Yeah, it is 100 times better. But all right, so Hidden Enemy, episode 16 of season 1, A Planet Under Siege. Separatist forces mercilessly batter the beautiful and elegant world of Christophsis. Unable to defend themselves any longer, the people of Christophsis call upon the Jedi for assistance, hoping to save lives and prevent further destruction. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker plan a daring ambush which can turn the tide in the fight for this crucial star system. And so we start off with, so basically we're on top of two different buildings. Well, not
Right.
top. We're in two separate buildings, and Rex and Cody are analyzing. No, Anakin and Obi-Wan are looking to ambush. Obviously, as we said in the beginning, advancing droids from two towers.
Yeah.
So they think they've got him, and they start noticing that the droids are separating. One's going the middle, one's going to the left, one's going to the right. They're kind of like, huh, that's kind of strange. And then Obi-Wan's like, all of a sudden, like, the droids come out of nowhere, which you would think that they would have had a little bit more time. Like, where did those other droids come from? Because when they take off and go towards Obi-Wan, they would have had to have had more droids come from behind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's a lot of droids. A lot of droids.
A lot of them.
And Obi-Wan's like, we basically need help over here. And Anakin's like, all right, here we go. Gonna cut through the window real quick.
Improvisation.
Yeah, improvising. That is what is a good trick. Spinning, that's a good trick, but improvising, that is a great trick.
Very great trick.
So Anakin calls for a gunship to evacuate on the opposite tower that Obi-Wan's in. So Anakin and the 501st go flying across the way, and they end up getting to Obi-Wan, and they're like the back and forth, like, how did this happen? Like, what's going on? Like, we don't know how'd that happen? And so they're like, Obi-Wan's like, it doesn't matter right now. We got to get to the gunship, basically. So they get up to the top, and the droids are still coming, constantly coming. It's like they're trapped, basically. Here's my thing. This episode, is that the same droid from Rebels?
Maybe? I never even thought about that before.
It could be, but obviously in season 7 we see something different. But
yeah,
I think it's definitely possible that is the same droid.
Right.
So they managed to escape. Some of the clones, like quite a bit of the clones, die, which is sad because
Damn.
at this point in season 1, like you're starting to really get to know these clones on a personal level, and you're learning like their personality traits and all this and that. Now back at the Republic base, and they are analyzing the droid's memory, and it's like, how did they get our battle plans? Huh.
There's an
I
imposter among
wonder
us.
I wonder how they got it. And Obi-Wan and Anakin, they come in and are asking how it's going, and Obi-Wan's like, so I think we got a spy in our ranks.
Like I said, there's an imposter among us.
Yeah. So Anakin and Obi-Wan only tell Rex and Cody that they are leaving to go check on a lead. And they know, it's kind of like they know somebody, if somebody's spying, they'll know who it is, because they're obviously leaving a comm link. And so after they leave, Cody notices that somebody left a comm link and was eavesdropping the entire time. Rex and Cody are like, somebody's been eavesdropping, and it's like,
Ba ba ba.
really? Who would have thought? So like it was so like when they so then they go out of the conference room, they look over, they see somebody take off, and I'm just like, first of all, you're soldiers, you should be able to catch this guy, you know what I mean? But it's like one
Yeah.
on two exactly, and then they're like, I'll cut him off, I'll go around, and it's like, okay, let's see how well this works.
One, like, you think you'd be in a closet somewhere, like, around the hall, listening to it like this, and then just enter out, like, safely. No, he's listening outside the door, and then they're like, oh shit, they're coming!
Yeah, basically, like just takes off, books it like Usain Bolt. So they chase him, and then unfortunately they lose the guy in the mess hall, which obviously kind of is like, well, all right, so one of our soldiers, one of our brothers, is a traitor.
Yep.
And it's funny because they call back this, I think this is like kind of a callback to when the Newt Gunray arc, when Gunray is like trying to offer Commander Green, like, I will pay you handsomely, clone. He's like, nice try, I'm not gonna betray my brothers. Oh, but wait, there's like 4 or 5 episodes later, here we go, a clone is betraying his brothers.
Well, I mean, chronologically, it's different, so it's like, I ain't gonna be like that clone. Chronologically speaking, yes, release order, it's different.
I guess that's true. But so they decide to contact the Jedi. So we get another shot of Anakin and Obi-Wan on their speeders going towards the what is supposed to be the droid base.
Right.
And like they can't get communications because obviously when the enemy is when you're behind enemy lines,
Right.
they're going to jam your communications. Like that's rule number 1 of warfare, and especially in Star Wars. You know you're in trouble when something is when your communications are jammed.
Wait.
You know something's gonna happen.
A communication disruption will only mean one thing: invasion.
So Anakin and Obi-Wan have a nice little back and forth, and Anakin's like, yeah, it only means one thing. We're going into a trap. And Obi-Wan's like, obviously. And I just love, like, the Clone Wars as a whole series does a fantastic job with the dialogue of what Obi-Wan, and I think it's awesome how that works out.
Yeah.
It's like it just goes to show you the character development that those two didn't get in the prequels,
100%.
and
Like,
I love it.
yeah, and you again the the point of the Clone Wars, people forget overall, was to add development to Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship, because even Lucas was talking about it, he's like, yeah, there was a lack of relationship there, so I wanted to go back and add that in so we can have
Yeah.
this layer of complexity to Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship. And I
Oh, yeah.
think if you're a new time watcher going through Star Wars, you gotta watch Clone Wars. You
Oh,
gotta.
yeah.
You
You
gotta
have
just a
to.
couple key arcs. Like, you could show them 2 to 3 key arcs
Yeah.
or the series overall, but you need to show them Clone Wars because this stuff right here is super important and will come
Because,
back into play later.
well, and I think also Clone Wars does a really good job. It like at work today. So I usually work from home, but my stuff wasn't working, so I had to go into the office. And I had a conversation with a coworker, and she was like, "Yeah, I've seen I've seen the original trilogy, but I haven't seen anything else." And I'm like, "Listen to this. She's big into DC, big into Marvel, but and big like she's a nerd,
Yeah,
just like everybody else, but can't get into Star Wars, which is fine."
it
But
happens.
it's like it's the number one like nerd thing. Like besides Star Trek, it's either Star Trek or Star Wars that gets the cake of starting off fantasy, sci-fi fantasy. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
the big thing for nerds. So it like blew my mind that she hadn't watched any of the other Star Wars things. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you have to watch Clone Wars." She loves anime. I was like, "Watch Visions. Visions is
Visions.
great." But like I was like, Clone Wars does a great job of, because she's like, I couldn't get through the first episode 1,
Yeah,
and she was
that's
like, I
fair.
fell asleep uh before the like during the pod races and before Darth Maul.
That's
And I was
fair.
like, how do you fall asleep to the Duel of Fates?
It happens.
I I just, it blows my mind. But then again, I get it. It's the first movie.
Did
And
you
I'm like,
watch release order? Or did you watch prequel? Did you go prequel, original
no,
trilogy?
she went release order.
That's smart. Yeah, go original trilogy, prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so, and I'm like, you gotta, like, I was given her recommendations, and like, I was like, okay, if you don't watch anything prequels, watch Clone Wars and then watch episode 3.
Hmm.
Because that's really all you need to know. If
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. Um, Not saying that 1 and 2 aren't valid. Like, they're good movies. I get it. They add a little bit to the plot and how this Clone Wars start, and I get it. But personally, watching the Clone Wars is more fulfilling for me, and it does more to the original trilogy, and it does more for episode 3
agreed.
than episode 2 does for me,
You could
or
skip.
episode 1.
Yeah, again, I honestly think this is. I'm not trying to criticize the prequels because I think it was harped on too much in the early 2000s. But honestly, I think Lucas should have just completely cut episode 1, Phantom Menace, out of the equation. Had episode 2, and then have a middle movie in the middle of the trilogy that takes place dead middle of the Clone Wars, and then had episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I think that's how it
That would
should.
have been cool. Absolutely, that would have been interesting. But like I said, Clone Wars does a great job of getting you back to the original trilogy and
Yeah,
giving you that vibe of he was a good man and he was a good friend. Like you don't see that in episode 2. You
you
don't
don't.
see that relationship in episode 2. You see it in the Clone Wars, which is very 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 important to see because you see that emotional drive, that emotional payoff in episode 3 when Obi-Wan when we all see the battle between those two in episode 3, like that's very very important, and Clone Wars does a great job of making that last fight, the emotions and everything that they go through, that much more important. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, so kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent, but so Rex and Cody have R2 analyze the community, and basically R2 coming in with the win. Like comes in, finds out that there's unauthorized transmissions. Rex notices the irregular wavelength that is too low and infrequent for them to normally detect. And it seems like the transmissions are coming from Slick's barracks. So they decide to investigate. They question all of Slick's men. Jester was cleaning his weapon, which is interesting because like any typical war movie, like you
Yeah.
always have soldiers cleaning their weapons after battle, like all of this and that. Punch and Sketch. Man, these names are like on point.
Punch and Sketch.
Yeah. We're in the mess hall.
The E and
And
the
Gus was in the infirmary. Last one, Chopper, which, by the way, if Chopper would have been a clone, it would have definitely been this guy. Hands down. Like you cannot tell me that this Chopper, that Chopper wasn't based off this guy. Like no way. And like they start questioning him and he goes, all right, fine. And he reveals that he has droid fingers, which, by the way, really funny because it's like you're taking fingers from a droid. Interesting. But he's like, I just wanted something back, which is very much realistic because sometimes you got the crazy guys in the movies that when a war movie happens and they kill somebody, they take a trophy. Kind of sinister, absolutely. But being a kids show, obviously you're able to do that with droids. They're dispensable.
Yeah.
So then Chopper denies being a spy and then turns the whole thing onto Slick.
Yeah. He wasn't pretty slick.
Oh yeah, no, it was not slick at all. And Slick goes, he feels cornered. You don't have to say anything else, but there'll be a full investigation when the Jedi come back. And like he's like Rex and Cody are like, I don't know why you said the Jedi, how you knew about the Jedi. We never said that the Jedi were gone.
Yeah.
And he's like, I wish you wouldn't have heard that, sir. And then like beats the crap, like does a number on both of, like almost all the clones. And it's like Rex and Cody go on, take off, and like they're
Sorry,
I love that. I really did truly love that part of the like the music, them bringing in that chase. I think it felt like very, very appropriate to put that in there.
Yeah, it was. That was just being ironic of it.
No, but if you wouldn't have said anything, I would have just glanced over it. But that is actually really, really well done. So hats off to Kevin Kiner. So they track him, and Slick drops a bunch of bombs, blows up the gunships, blows up the ATTEs, and as well as the weapons depot, which, like, I mean, makes more sense when after you watch the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah.
How they were very not prepared. So the other clones inform Cody and Rex that Slick had went into the command center, and they basically Commander Cody and Rex are like, lock down the base, like we got to find Slick. And so while they're dealing with that whole thing, Anakin and Obi-Wan show up, and they're obviously they know that their droids are spying on them. They still decide to go on to the mission. They make it to the base, and inside is our first No, not our first canon. Well, first in the
Yeah,
release order canon, uh, Visage Ventress.
yeah. It's first chronological VC Asajj.
Yes. So that's kind of exciting. Um, and they begin to duel with her, and her and Obi-Wan, which is weird because it's like her. I feel like her and Anakin would have a better like are supposed to have like the back and forth, and
Yeah,
Grievous and Obi-Wan are supposed to have it, but like she tends to go back and forth with Obi-Wan, which I think is funny.
Obi-Wan
Like,
totally banged her. Let's just flip that into question.
yeah. So they have a nice little saber fight. The Jedi managed, so Anakin and Obi-Wan pretty much overcome Ventress, which is
Right.
part of the plan. Uh, she escapes, taunts them. Uh, they basically are trying to capture her. She puts her sabers down on the floor, makes the floor crumble. She ends up escaping. And obviously they follow her. Um, discovering that she has a whole army. She jumps on the one tripod droid
Yeah.
thing that's really big. And she's like, "Come after me, boys." And I was like, "You know what? That's low key a badass line."
Yeah.
I was like, "You know what? That's pretty good. I like that one." Um, so obviously they engage Ventress again on the overbalance. Um, on the tri droid. That's what it's called, the tri droid.
Yeah.
Um, and she escapes. Well, they escape on the steps to go back to the Republic base. Ventress dispatches a General Lothsome, who you see in the Clone Wars movie, to take care of the Jedi. And she will move on to the next part of her plan. And she heads to the Trident, which is the squid-looking ship
Yeah.
that she has. Now, back to the Republic base. Rex and Cody enter the command center and start searching for Slick. They start guessing on where he's hiding, like blah blah blah. And then like Rex like looks up and is like, or is it Rex or Cody?
I think it was Cody.
I think it was Cody. Cody
And then Rex
notices,
comes up
and
behind
then
him and
Rex,
puts the gun.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like Cody's like, go to the weapons depot or whatever, and I'll check, and I'll stay here and check on comms. Secure the lockdown. That's what he says.
Yeah.
And Rex acts as if he leaves, shuts the door. Cody purposely leaves an empty blaster on
Right.
the hollow circle.
Yeah.
Slick comes out of the vent, grabs the gun, and like badass.
Yeah.
That most badass part. Cody goes, "It's empty." Slick, and then Rex comes behind him, and then they engaged hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
This was really good hand-to-hand combat for our first season.
Yeah, for sure.
Like really, really good for the animation. There was no like going from one part to the other. So I thought
Yes.
that was really, really interesting to see that was in the first season.
And it wasn't very very like stylistic. It was very brutal, like
Yeah.
flowed hand fight.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, Slick engages both of them in a physical combat, stating that he's tired of all the suffering and was offered freedom and money, obviously by Ventress.
Of course.
So that's great. And like basically Cody knocks him unconscious and apprehends him, and like he's like, "You are betraying your brothers." And like that's a huge thing if you think about it. It's the clones. The clones fight for each other and the Jedi. And it's like
Yeah.
they feel betrayed, and then it starts to make the Jedi think, well, we've had one traitor in our midst down the road, which chronologically down the road they have another one.
Yeah.
But like they start to realize that enemies are all around us.
It's like the Revenge
And
of Crawl. There's heroes on both sides.
yep,
Heroes and
basically.
villains.
Yeah. Slick to the Jedi. Anakin kind of is like, why would you do this to your brothers? Whole type of thing. And he's like, because we are enslaved by the Jedi. And that he was striking a blow for all clones, and that he loves his brothers. And it's like Cody and Rex are like, bro, you obviously don't know what we're fighting for then. Like you're completely off. That he is now exposed that they're basically they're like, well, you've put us all in deep danger.
Right.
And you're doing the opposite of what you were trying to do. So nice job, pal. You succeeded in something, but not the right thing.
Right.
Cody orders the other clones to take the traitor to lockup. Rex reports that that though most of the weapons are trashed, they managed to save heavy cannons, which will prove useful in the coming battle.
Of course.
And that is the end of the Hidden Enemy arc. Again, ranking. Hereth, what was your ranking?
I'm gonna go out here and kind of unpopular. Again, you gotta remember, this is a season 1 episode, but it's by far the best season 1 episode. So I'm gonna hit it with a Jedi Master.
You know, I can't disagree with you. I'd say story-wise, it's a Jedi Master. I really enjoyed the tone. Like having the first season have a traitor of the clones was very intriguing, and I really liked that storyline because it's like, what if a clone decided to say screw it, I don't want to be part of the Grand Army of the Republic, like this isn't for me, and decided to just be like, you know what, screw it, we're done. And I think that was interesting, and I think that's what was the most compelling part for me.
Yeah, for sure.
So both of us. So for overall, for the both of the, we'll call this the filler arc. For both of these episodes, if we put these episodes together, what would you give it as like ranking for these two episodes together?
Well, I mean, the good perfect in between would be Jedi Knight.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too, Jedi Knight. Because I think it just like off balances the Jedi Knight and the Jedi Master, obviously. So,
of course.
Talk to the chat a little bit. Aiden talks. Appreciate you popping in, saying hi. Always appreciate it. I think that's pretty much it for comments, which is fine.
It happens.
It happens. We carry on. We do our best. So basically, now we are into Star Wars news.
Yeah.
So let's break down episode 2 of Visions. We talked about episode 1 with Zelly last week. Obviously on They Fly Now, go check out the channel. They have episodes on Mondays and they have reactions. For Visions, they are now on what? Episode
6.
7? 6?
BD1.
So 6 drops tomorrow. Or drop today.
Drop today. Yeah.
Okay, drop today. So episode 7 will be out tomorrow.
Yep.
For Tatooine Rhapsody.
Hell yeah.
I want your thought. Where does this rank with all the episodes and Visions?
So I would say Tatooine Rhapsody is definitely in my top 5. It's such a fun and cute episode. I don't know how people could hate this episode. Like, it's so much fun, and it represents like what Visions turned out to be, which is an anime studio's vision of Star Wars. Again, it's just a fun episode. You got Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the main character. You got Tamora Morrison as Boba Fett. You got Bib Fortuna in there. Like what else could you not want?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you.
It's just fun.
And I love the fact that they made Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character a Jedi from the Clone Wars.
Yes.
And it's like the perfect hiding. Like he's a Jedi that can sing.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. And the fact that they brought in a Hutt that plays the bass guitar just makes a whole lot of sense.
It does. And it's so good.
Tatooine Rhapsody is in my top 5. It's in my top 5. Ninth Jedi. I cannot stop talking about that episode. I've watched it like 4 or 5 times, and every single time I find something new.
Yeah.
And we will talk about that in the next couple of weeks. Because we're going through Visions week by week, doing a review of each one.
So trying to subtle plug They Flying Out, like I said, reactions. The reactions for Ninth Jedi, which came out yesterday.
Oh, I saw that. I watched it. So good.
I had to cut so much out because again, YouTube copyright is very sensitive and very flaky.
Keep it. Yep.
You only can keep it to so much. Dude, I wanted to just release the entire reaction because it was incredible. Me and Carter were just talking it throughout the entirety of the episode. We were going and going and going.
You could do a separate cut and do like bloopers.
It's just so good. Like, again, Ninth Jedi got so much.
It was so good.
Got so many reactions out of me. Like, again, if you want to go watch that, go watch my reaction.
Yes,
it's so
watch
good.
It is really good. And speaking of reactions, and it's good that Hereth's on here because we do have future plans as 2 podcasts.
Yes.
We will be doing reaction / roundtables on Book of Boba Fett. Yes. Not every week, but premiere episodes and probably finales. Especially I will say finale of Kenobi, we all need to watch it together and react to it the same. Because I feel like if you get my reaction, it's going to be me bawling, and that will get you clicks.
Yeah, and we'll share it on both channels, so it'll be both hosted on Podwans and They Flying Out, because I feel like I don't want to, because, again, premieres and finales generally, view-wise, do the best, so I think we'll share it on both channels. We'll both get really well with that.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, guys. So, speaking of Boba Fett, we got some news.
Oh, yeah.
So we got our boy Boba looking chill as hell
just
on the
chilling.
throne. Which, by the way, that picture is amazing. I wish I could get a. Okay, here we go.
He's just giving that Maul energy. That's the Maul energy of like, I'm a boss. You know, I own everything. You see this palace? This is mine. This is my palace.
This is my palace. And you know what? I saw that there were some release stuff of like episodes, like episode titles already.
Yeah, I saw the
link for that. There were a couple that like really turned my eye. The Syndicate.
Yes.
Are we gonna see Kira? Are we going to see Crimson Dawn? Are they still around? I mean, we don't know these things because obviously they have a run in the Star Wars comic that is going to be just about Crimson Dawn and what's going on. It's going to be a sequel of the War of the Bounty Hunters arc that is going on right now.
Right.
But I am really excited about it. And like Boba Fett, he's a low-key great character for me. Char loves Boba Fett, which if I can say anything about my co-host, his reactions to the show are probably going to be the best.
100%.
Like this is his Kenobi for him. Like he loves Boba Fett. And by the way, if anybody knows how to get a poster of that,
actually, I think I have an idea for that. You just go to like any printing site basically, and you get it in a 24 by 36 size, which is basically the size of a poster frame, and you just print it and put it in a frame.
That's what we should do for Char's birthday.
Yep.
Yes. All right. Well, if Char rewatches this, like that's your birthday present. There you go. Or a Christmas present. Maybe we'll do that as a podcast.
Christmas
Who knows?
present. Christmas present.
No,
We'll send him a good poster, and he'll have it for Book
yeah,
of Boba.
yeah, absolutely. It'll be before the show even comes out, which, by the way, won't come out until December 29th, which I don't mind because we miss the holidays,
Yep.
which I feel like if you miss if you have it on the holidays, and I think that's something that they learned from The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
If you have episodes that happen around the holidays, other big movies are coming out, like No Way Home will be out, and other stuff will preoccupy
Matrix
people.
Resurrections as well.
Yes, Matrix. It's just gonna be so awesome. Like you can't Boba. After seeing him, The Mandalorian, it just made me like Boba so much more.
He's a boss.
He is. He is the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, and it just goes to show you with that picture.
Well, I would say we're just ignoring Cad Bane. I mean, he's over
No,
there.
So I saw on TikTok somebody had done an edit, and they had put Cad Bane in the chair,
Oh,
and I was like, "Whoa, that's ridiculous! Like that's really cool." But do I think that's gonna happen? I don't know.
rumors say he's in the show, so
Yeah, rumors do say
no.
But obviously, here's the synopsis: Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett, a thrilling Star Wars adventure finds legendary bounty hunter Boba Fett and mercenary Fennec Shand navigating the galaxy's underworld when they return to the sands of Tatooine to stake their claim on the territory once ruled by Jabba the Hutt and his crime syndicate. Now, obviously, with the episode of Syndicate, I think we're going to see a lot of Crimson Dawn, the Hutts, the Black Sun.
Yes.
Like, this is going to be what we should have gotten a couple of years ago.
Yes, it's gonna be great,
in my opinion. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not huge on bounty hunters, but I am really freaking excited about this.
Oh, 100%. And the Collider interview with Robert Rodriguez has also kind of like piqued my like interest for the show, because like him talking about how like you guys ain't ready for this show. Like this show is gonna like blow your socks off, basically.
Yeah. And he really did a good job on the episodes that he did for The Mandalorian.
Yeah, he did episode 6, the introduction of Boba Fett, was a really good episode, because if you remember, like Jon Favreau said, it was the shortest script of all season 2, and he had to just improvise action and make that work, and he made it work.
Yeah, absolutely. But speaking of shows on Disney Plus, we got some other news, and for the podcast, I go to one source, and it's Star Wars Newsnet. Those guys do a lot of good things. They don't report scoops as much, but they do a really good job of getting their facts straight and doing everything the correct way, which I absolutely love.
I see we got this covered. I'm kidding.
Yeah. So like, they know their.
Well, my camera just died.
We're good.
This is
So it's I gotta find the article now. All right. Lucasfilm plans to release 11 new Star Wars Disney Plus shows in the next few years. Let me get this up for the people, and I will also read it for the audio folks that listen to it on the audio. Hopefully the stream doesn't cut out.
Right.
Because we had audio issues last week. So in a new report by the Hollywood Reporter suggests that starting with the Book of Boba Fett, Lucasfilm wants to get out 11 shows in the next few years. The Hollywood Reporter, covering today's surprise drop of the first poster of the Book of Boba, shared an interesting tidbit that was somewhat buried within the article. Quotes. The Book of Boba Fett will be the second live-action Star Wars series to debut on Disney Plus. The streamer also has limited series centered on Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor in the works, along with two other Mandalorian spinoffs, Ahsoka and the Rangers of the New Republic. All told, Disney plans to air 11 Star Wars series in the next several years. So, reading that, Hereth,
Yeah.
what are the chances of us getting High Republic shows?
Well, I mean
That's
the
my first thoughts.
the Acolyte is already a High Republic show within itself, so we already got one in the works. So
What I mean, like an Avar Chris, Elzar Man, Stellan Geos, like prequel to all the books.
I mean, it's not out of the question.
It's not.
And I would say prequel. It depends. Okay, it depends where all the characters lead up after Fallen Star. Like
Oh,
I feel like we need to wait for the trilogy to wrap first
oh.
before we start talking about what character's going to show up where.
Over the next several years, though. And here's another question: how many of these series are going to be limited series? Are going to be
Yeah.
one-offs? Because there could be more than just one one-offs.
Yeah. And we know the shows we already know we have is Book of Boba, Kenobi, Andor, Book of Boba, Kenobi, Andor, Ahsoka, Acolyte. I'm just going through them all. Rangers of the New Republic,
Yep.
and basically the 6 we know of. And they said 11, so we only know half of the shows basically.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's got an interesting little take to it, and I'm really really excited about it. It says we already know what 7 of these projects are by means of the Lucasfilm previous announced, like at the Investor Day. So
All right.
the Rangers of the New Republic and the Acolyte, and also Boba Fett. But they're missing Droid Story. The Droid Story and Lando is also in there as well.
Yeah, Lando is which we don't know.
I
Shout out.
want Donald Glover in that show, and if he's not in that show, I don't want it.
Okay, so I don't know if you've listened to Star Wars lawyers Chris' take on what he wants the Lando show to be, and I'm
No, what is
here
it?
here for it. So basically, he wants it to be both Donald Glover and Billy D. Williams. Each episode starts off with Billy D. Williams and Janna from post Rise of Skywalker as he's telling his old life stories, and then we flash back into Donald Glover's life.
So like kind of like Arrow, but like opposite.
Yes. And they would film all the Billy D. Williams stuff way in advance because obviously Billy D. Williams is getting older. We don't know how long he's got. So obviously they would film all the scenes with Janna. And then we would go way in advance so we could have all that ready to go and we could have multiple seasons of this.
Do we think that it's going to go at the beginning of before Solo or after Return of the Jedi?
I think it would be after Solo, but before A New Hope.
Okay. That's interesting because we honestly don't know how he gets to Bespin. Or do we?
I don't think we do know.
I don't think we do. So I think that could be an interesting story.
I think he said he wanted gambling, if I remember correctly, in Empire Strikes Back.
I think so. But the other thing is like there's so much potential in a lot of the things that Lucasfilm is doing.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a missed opportunity if they did not hit on the High Republic.
100%. And again, I'm really excited for Acolyte because again, Acolyte's basically going to be the big finale for the main High Republic storyline. But I wouldn't mind like the in between phase storylines because we know after phase 1 they're going to jump around, and so if we get like little epilogues to these characters' stories as a show, an animated show or a live action show, I would be all here for it.
No, absolutely. but it all starts off with Book of Boba.
Yeah,
2022 is going to be an amazing year for Star Wars.
100%.
We got Book of Boba, Andor, Kenobi, Bad Batch season 2. I'm here for it. I'm here
Mandalorian
for
season
everything.
3.
Mandalorian season 3. Give me it all. I don't care. Give me it. Give me it now. We've got Celebration
Yes.
in California. In on Labor Day weekend, or not Labor Day.
It's 26th
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, 26th and 29th.
Memorial Day weekend. But like I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm so here for it. And this year is going to be, because the last 2 years we have had no news, hardly anything.
Yeah.
Besides Mando season 2 finale and Bad Batch. Those are the only 2 things that we've had. And Visions. I will say Visions now. But like there hasn't been a whole lot of news.
Unless you're reading the High Republic, then.
Yeah, okay. High Republic is great too. Don't get me wrong, but like when I think of Star Wars, I'm like video games, movies, TV shows. We haven't gotten a whole ton from that. Obviously the Emmys were last week. After Ewan McGregor won Best Actor in a Drama, Series, or Comedy.
Oh yeah, he was promoting that during.
They did a interview with him. They asked him, "What can we see from Kenobi?" He says, "I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed." And hearing him say that gets me 10 times more excited.
Yeah.
Because like seeing Ewan and Hayden and Vader and Obi-Wan again, like it just gives me it does something to me that not a lot of things can.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see what they do with this. Now, the other shows that I'm really excited for. Mando season 3, obviously.
Yeah.
Ahsoka is another one that is really underrated, and I think Andor, which by the way is our next little topic that we can talk about.
Yeah.
Andor, Diego Luna was asked about Andor and how it was going, how shooting was going. He confirmed that they are now done filming Andor.
Yep.
Which begs the question, when do we see Andor stuff?
Well,
like
okay.
When will that be released, do you think?
Well, if I had to guess, going from release dates like normality, so I would say we can expect Kenobi in spring. I think that's a fair assumption. Spring 2022.
May?
Late April to early May, maybe even late May if they really want to like get that celebration hype. But I'm saying late April, early May. Then we'll get Bad Batch in the summer, like August or July, maybe.
July, then that goes into the fall, and then if it's 16 episodes, that's 16 weeks. That's 2 months.
Yeah. So then we'll
roughly
get
3 months, 3.5 months.
Then we'll get the Mandalorian season 3.
So August, September, October. November is usually when the last season dropped for Mando.
Yeah, I would say
am I correct on that?
Yeah, so it's like late October, early November.
Okay. So think about that. That's 8 weeks. The finale drops on what? So if it drops in late after Thanksgiving. So let's just say, I will say that it drops in the first week of December.
Yeah, let's say Andor comes out in December.
Andor comes out in December, or does Mando come out in December?
Andor. I think Andor is a better assumption because they're both.
So you think we won't see Mando in 2022? We'll see it in 2023.
I think we'll see Mando in 2022, and we'll see Andor in 2022 as well. But Andor is going to be a later release.
Okay, when. So here's my issue. Element 7. Hold on.
Yeah,
Got a chat in here.
yeah, both that's
Yep,
December
Book of
29th.
Boba. Yep, Book of Boba will come out in December 29th.
Yeah.
We're more or less just talking about when we think Andor and
Yep.
okay, so here
I
we
agree.
go. Obi-Wan in May.
I agree. We're in agreement.
Now, Element, here's my question. When in May? Do you think they'll drop it on May the 4th? Or do you think they'll drop it closer to Celebration?
Well, when does May the 4th land next year?
May the 4th lands on a Wednesday, I believe.
So do you think they'll? Well, there's only 6 episodes, right? So you think they're gonna drop 2 episodes like Bad Batch style, or you think they're just gonna wait till May the 6th?
I don't know. See, that's a good question. Because I feel like I agree. I think they're going to take advantage of May the 4th. I really truly do. Because I feel like it's Star Wars Day. Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, when I think of Star Wars, I think of Darth Vader.
Right.
And most of the people do. Like, that is what sells Star Wars. When you think of Star Wars, it's Darth Vader.
Exactly.
And if we get Vader in episode 1 of Kenobi on May the 4th, that's just icing on the cake.
Oh,
Icing on the cake. Element thinks that it will land on Wednesday, and then they'll do kind of like a Bad Batch thing with episode 2 falling on Friday, which very much could happen. But I like I said, Kenobi is going to be my favorite. It's probably going to be my favorite show that Disney has done, which is insane for me to say because I do really, really, really enjoy Mando. And I also think Andor is very underrated.
yes, Andor's gonna be great.
It's going to be great because we don't have a whole lot of spy Star Wars stuff. And I think that Star Wars in particular is a perfect narrative to make a spy show. Or make a spy show, especially with the Rebel Alliance, because everybody really, really enjoyed Diego Luna in Rogue One.
Yeah,
me included, because I feel like his character, very much makes the rebellion not just like, oh, we're always on the side of good. Into question, like rebellions are built. Oh, here's another hot take from Element.
Ooh.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not hot take, but a bold take. Now,
I didn't think about that one.
Well, okay. So how would Omega? Because at this point, Omega, we don't really know much about season 2. I mean, a lot. We don't even know how long, if there's going to be a 3rd season. I think there will probably be a 3rd season of Bad Batch.
I think it's safe to say. I think Bad Batch will probably be 3 seasons. I think that's a
3
safe.
seasons at the most.
Yeah.
I
think that's
feel like
it
gets maybe 4. Maybe they get the Rebels treatment and they get a 4th season.
Oh, I need to start reading Catalyst then.
I did forget about that. It's been ages since I read Catalyst. I read Catalyst before. Did that come out before Rogue One came out?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it did too. So I listened to the audiobook back when I used to work and do lifting and do stuff like that. So I used to listen to audiobooks a lot. And I really enjoyed Catalyst because it was like a good in-between between Clone Wars and A New Hope.
Right.
So that's an interesting point. Mark Omega, which is weird because then that would imply that the Empire now has their hands on Omega.
Yeah.
So maybe Andor has to go save Omega from something. That could be an interesting take. But we really don't know. But like the article says, Diego Luna says teases we'll see familiar faces in the series.
Obviously,
now
I'm assuming.
Obviously,
Mothma.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you're going to see Jimmy Smits in both the Kenobi and in Andor. I don't think it's that much of a stretch to say that.
Yeah,
because he's part of both. He's part of the rebellion. Like he's a big factor of the rebellion. And if Jimmy Smits isn't in it, that's gonna start turning some questions for me. Because I feel like Jimmy Smits is older, which fits perfectly narratively.
Yeah.
Because he can age. They don't have to do anything de-aging with him. So that's really intriguing. Obviously, you're gonna see Mon Mothma. Do we see a young Leia at this point?
I think young
Um,
Leia is more of a Kenobi thing than an Andor thing.
but do we know when Andor takes place? Does it take approximately
I'm trying
2
to guess.
years before Rogue One?
I would say maybe like 4 to 5 years from Rogue One. It's around like I think it's if I remember chronologically, it's before the first season of Rebels, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Don't count me on that.
So, looking at the little quotes from the article, you'll definitely see familiar faces. I can tell you about this project like no other because I can't spoil the ending if you've seen Rogue One already. No matter what I say, I can't ruin the ending. But you can ruin the context of the show, which is very dangerous. But then again, he could throw us off by saying one thing or the other. Kind of like an Andrew Garfield saying, "I'm not in Spider-Man Home, No Way Home."
I'm not the
Okay.
werewolf.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. Diego Luna then continued to express his enthusiasm by praising the work of the entire cast and crew of Andor. To be honest, it's been such a blessing to do this job and to do it under these circumstances. I had the chance to work with a team that I couldn't be more proud of and admire more. It's a hardcore moment to be out there shooting, and we were really lucky. We're done with the shooting now and getting it ready for audiences to see. While I can't say much, what I can tell you is that the experience was literally transformation for me. It's something that I really wanted to do and that I thought I was not going to be able to do. I am more than happy. So
Which
that's awesome.
it's
And
amazing.
we got our answer via Element. Thank you again for coming into the stream. Appreciate it. It takes place 5 years before Rogue One. So that means Leia is approximately 16?
14.
14?
Because you are
Yeah,
it's
because
like
she's 19.
yeah.
Because she's 19. Yeah, that's right. So she's 14. So that's interesting. We could see a young Leia there.
I highly doubt it though. I think because we see her in Rebels, I don't think bringing her in Andor would make any sense, and I think they're gonna leave most of like obviously we're gonna have Mom Mothma, we're gonna have Bail Organa. Those are the
You're
easy
gonna
like
see Saw Gerrera.
yeah, we're gonna see Saw Gerrera again. So
Saw
like those,
Gerrera.
I think we'll see those characters because they're not like they're legacy characters, but they're not like the original trio. I think they're not
No,
gonna touch it until because it's
they're not gonna
too
touch. They're not gonna touch Luke, Leia, or Han.
yeah. I think it's too late into the timeline. Like if it was a little bit earlier, like let's say it was
Yeah.
like where Kenobi's at, you could
Yeah.
probably touch it and be fine.
Wait. So this takes 5 years before Rogue One. Kenobi takes place 10 years after Revenge of the
Revenge is
Sith.
so it's 5 years
So
later.
between so this is 5 years later.
Yeah.
Andor takes place 5 years later after Kenobi.
Yep.
Okay. So you're definitely not seeing Kenobi in this show. I can
For
already tell
sure.
you that right now.
He looks like Al
Like
Guinness.
like they were first like they were reporting on Kenobi being on set. And I'm like, no. That doesn't really make any sense to me. And narratively, I just don't see it. I
I can
just
see like
don't see it.
I can see like Ewan McGregor visiting the set, and people think he's
Mhm.
in the show, and
That's probably what it is, if I'm being honest. But it like I said, with Lucasfilm wanting to do 11 shows in the next few years, we already know. I think Andor has already gotten a second season. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's already slated for a second season.
Yeah, because they announced that K2SO will not be in the show. So, yeah, it basically confirmed it's going to be a second season.
There's gonna be a second season because they have to have Alan Tudyk in the show because I think it would be amazing. While the pure Star Wars talk ended there, Luna wanted to throw in one last message about representation on screen. He is, of course, the first Mexican born to lead a Star Wars property. Good job for that.
Yes.
Though not the first Latino, as Pedro Pascal was born in Chile. Thank you for the I mean, not thank you because I'm obviously not Latino, but I like to see them finally breaking the mold.
Yeah.
This is great. And this is something that more big studios, I truly believe this, need to do it. And Marvel has now done it with both Black Panther and Shang-Chi. And by the way, Shang-Chi, a phenomenal film.
100%. Yeah, great film.
Phenomenal film. Absolutely loved it. It's probably one of my top 5 in the MCU. I love that movie so much. And it was probably the first like Asian-centered movie that I've seen that depicted it really, really well. And I was like, there's not things that it's just a flawless film.
Yes.
I will say that. Flawless film. But back to the message that he said. Audiences can be heard. We have to send a message. We want to see our stories out there. We want to see, feel represented. We want to connect with those characters and those stories we see in film and all platforms. We have a voice as audiences. We have the power. We have to send the right. No, wait, hold on. We have the voices as audiences, and we have the power. We have to send the right message when you buy a movie ticket or when you click on the various platforms. You're sending a message, and when you don't, you're also sending a message. So let's be responsible because we can transform things and make sure we are represented more and represented better on screen.
Yeah.
Which, hands off. That's great. And here's the thing. So now we're getting towards the end of the episode. We are coming up close to Disney Plus Day.
Yes.
We're obviously going to see Marvel stuff. We're obviously going to see Pixar stuff. For Star Wars, what do we see?
Well, this is the easiest and safest pick I could ever pick. We're for sure seeing a Book of Boba teaser or a full trailer.
I think we get a teaser before.
We'll get, yeah, I think, yeah, I'd say teaser maybe on like Monday Night Football.
Yes.
And then during halftime, and then we'll
I think they're gonna hit us hard with a Kenobi. Either like so they did like the Kenobi thing, like they showed the title. I think you get a release date and you get a teaser for Kenobi.
Well, actually, I can't share my screen, but
no, yeah, you can.
So I'm looking at the Monday Night Football game schedule.
I think it's Giants Chiefs.
I actually disagree. I'm gonna try sharing my screen if I can.
Here, I think I've gotta stop sharing my screen. Here.
Because I actually have a really.
There you go.
Chrome tab. So NFL Monday Night Football. I think if there's a game, it's got to be either Colts Ravens or Bills Titans. Because these right here are high ticketed Monday night games.
That's true.
They're both successful teams. Obviously, the Colts are 0-3, but they're both successful teams most of the time. It's a safe bet, and this lines up schedule-wise where The Mandalorian had their trailers premiere, which is second week of October. I think this right here is a safe bet.
Possibly.
So I would say week
go
6
up.
Monday.
Go up.
Can you go down?
Yeah, go down.
Well, I don't think they're going to show it that late. I think it's
too late. Is closer.
It is closer to the Disney Plus Day, but I think they want to give a little bit of a gap. So I think
that's true.
So I think lock it in your dates, guys. It's going to be either week 5 or week 6. Tune in
I'm
at halftime. Get hype.
I'm saying just because I'm a Chiefs homer, it's gonna happen on the 1st of November.
It's not gonna. I'm telling you right now. It's
Lock it in now. Podwans Podcast guaranteed. I wish I had a audio, but I don't.
I'm locking it in as they fly out.
I would say in my second bet would be the 16th because it is a really good game between the Bills and the Titans.
Yeah, Bills and Titans, I think, is the for sure bet.
Yeah, but
I think they fly out guarantee.
But guys, that is going to wrap it up for the podcast. Again, I want to thank Hereth for coming in, being my co-host for the night. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Where can the good people follow you on the social medias?
Obviously, since TikTok is kind of like our mainstay when it comes to most platforms, you can find me again at the bottom, like here it's displayed on my screen. Hereth Productions at TikTok, and for YouTube, like I said a little bit earlier, They Fly Now show on YouTube, where we release our podcast every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we have our reactions every Friday, either that be a show or a movie or news.
Do you want to go into detail about what next Monday's episode is going to be? The subject.
Yeah, I can. Next Monday we'll be having basically it's just gonna be like the entire story of Luke Skywalker from start to finish. We're studying from A New Hope to Last Jedi.
Let me tell you guys, you're not gonna want to miss it. Carter and Hereth do a great job getting guests and doing the quality. It's a fun time. If you're subscribed here, you should be subscribed to They Fly Now because they're great. They're awesome. I've been on twice. So go give them some love. It's gonna be awesome. Obviously, you guys can follow Char at CharCharJay on TikTok, Instagram. He will be sorely missed on this episode. But that's okay. It goes on. So you can find the Podwans Podcast on at the bottom. Obviously, you can see it on the YouTube. If you can't, you obviously can't see it on the audio. TikTok at the Podwans Podcast, Instagram at the Podwans Pod, Twitter at Podwans. And obviously, if you can find the podcast audio on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. But for that is going to be a podcast. And may the force be with you.
Always.
We will be back on Friday.